All right, good morning, good morning. I'm going to show you how for as little as $100 invested you can buy a minimum 100,000 shares in one of the fastest growing emerging economies in the world, setting yourself up for retirement. This is the best 401k retirement plan. If you make one investment decision in your life, it's this one. Heck, you might even be able to retire early. What I'm talking about is the Iraqi stock market. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity, people. This is not a MLM, Ponzi or pyramid scheme. This is not a Forex robot trader that's going to make you money and wipe out your savings at the same time. This is not a cryptocurrency. This is a real investment with real potential that could reap exponential profits. Analysts are predicting a rise in the ISX by as much as 13,000%, and we could see share prices rise as high as 2,000 to 3,000%. These are real shares in a real stock market with real potential. We're talking about exponential profits, so you need to think about this clearly. $1 currently buys you 1,185.63 Iraqi dinar. All right, so just imagine if this was $100. So let's do our $100. Let's convert it. So your $100 is going to buy you 118,559.29 Iraqi dinar. We're going to take this Iraqi dinar and then we're then going to buy Iraqi shares. So this is a bulletin from the 5th of the 3rd, 2019. Right, so this is, quite a few days old. However, you can head to the Iraqi stock market to market bulletins and pull up the most recent, and you'll see there's not much change in these share prices. So remember, we've got 118,000 dinar to play with. So if we were to look at the National Bank of Iraq, their shares are currently sitting at 0.330 of a dinar per share. That means we can pick up 3 shares for every 1 dinar. So that 118,000 dinar is going to turn into over 300,000 shares. If we were to invest in the Middle Eastern Bank, we're looking roughly between 8 and 9 shares for every 1 dinar. So your 118,000 dinar is going to turn into 900,000 shares. So, like I said, this is a real stock market with real potential. All right, so a little bit about me. I've been invested for the share market since about 2004. I was fortunate enough back in 2004 to buy a lot of physical currency, and no doubt some of you are probably invested in the physical currency. I took a lot of my physical currency and I bought a lot of my Iraqi dinar when it was 4,000 dinar to every $1. So, going back 2004, I bought a lot of dinar and then I took that dinar and converted it to shares. So I've been investing in the share market for over 12 years. Within that 12 years, I've been fortunate to make the most of as many buy opportunities that I could. I've reinvested cash dividends that were paid to me by banks. I've taken bank interest because I had a fair bit of dinar sitting in banks over there earning me interest. So I then took that interest and bought more shares. And it's enabled me to triple my portfolio holdings in a number of sectors for a number of years now. All right, so why should you invest in the Iraqi stock market? Well, the Iraq is undervalued in terms of the currency, oil and gas reserves. They're underestimated, and the share market is well undervalued compared to other stock markets in the region and within Asia. So let's look at the stats. So Kuwait is number 7 of the list of oil producing countries. Kuwait's production is currently sitting at 3.15 million barrels per day. Their bourse is sitting at 5,596 points. Now you compare this to Iraq's, they're sitting at about 486 points. National Bank of Kuwait shares peaked at 2,312 Kuwaiti dinar per share. So the National Bank of Kuwait shares peaked at 2,312 dinar per share. They're currently sitting at about 830 to 890 Kuwaiti dinar per share. And Kuwait's current exchange rate is 1 Kuwaiti dinar equals $3.29. So do the maths. 890 Kuwaiti dinar per share at $3.29 exchange rate. It's quite a healthy share price. Now, let's look at Iraq. Iraq is number 4 on the list of oil producing countries. Iraq's oil production is currently sitting at 4.3 million barrels per day, so they're about a 1 million barrels per day above Kuwait. They're estimated to peak at 7 million barrels per day over the next 10 years, with an aim of getting to 12 million barrels per day. Iraq's ISX index is sitting at 472.33 points, and that's fluctuating well down on Kuwait's bourse, which sits at 5,596 points. So as you can see, that's undervalued, as far as the share market index. Iraq's estimated oil reserves are over 300 billion barrels a day, plus, according to current and former oil ministers, National Bank of Iraq shares are 0.330 of a dinar per share. So if one Kuwaiti dinar is worth 0.00083 US dollars, what's a share worth? Iraq's exchange rate, $1 US equals 1196.48 dinar. So you can see you've got some serious purchasing power. If you compare this to Kuwait's exchange rate, as I said, is one Kuwaiti dinar is the equivalent of about 3.29 US dollars. So let's do the numbers. So what will investment earn you? So if you invest 100 US dollars, which is the minimum buy-in, you'll get roughly about 111,663 Iraqi dinar. This will buy you, at a current share price of 0.330 per dinar per share, this will buy you roughly 334,991 shares in the National Bank of Iraq. Or if you were to buy shares in the Middle Eastern Bank, you'd pick up 9 shares per dinar, and your 111,663.82 dinar would buy you almost 1 million shares. So how much could you make? Well, let's look at August 2004. The National Bank of Iraq was as high as 16.33 dinar per share. The exchange rate in September 2003 was 2.53 US dollars per dinar. So quite healthy, and that was at a time when it was peaked to the US dollar. After the Gulf War, they devalued the currency, added 3 zeros to the currency, devalued it, and introduced notes with 3 zeros. So between 2003 and 2004, the exchange rate, like I said, went from 2.53 US dollars per dinar down to 0.00046, and this is where they added 3 zeros to the currency, as well as releasing notes with 3 zeros. So what happened between September? Well, to put it simply, they devalued the currency by adding 3 zeros. Imagine owning 717,982 shares at 6.33 dinar per share. That would get you 11,724,646 dinar at a potential exchange rate of $1 equals 11,000 plus US dollars. 11 million, I should say, plus US dollars. Could the shares drop in price? Of course. It just means that we buy more and we take advantage of as many buying opportunities as we can. But they have to go up. And the exchange rate will change. So why are analysts predicting, a rise of as much as 13,000%? Well, as Warren Buffett said, in the 20th century, the United States endured two world wars, other traumatic and expensive military conflicts, the Great Depression, a dozen or so recessions, and financial panics and crises that we apparently had to have, oil shocks, a flu epidemic, and the resignation of a disgraced president. Yet the Dow index rose from 66 to 11,497 points. History has also shown that since World War II, that the Dow index and the Nasdaq has been in a bull market ever since. The longest bull market was 15 years, and it's in a bull market at the moment. So an investor of today does not profit from yesterday's growth. Just think about Iraq's potential. Think about their oil reserves. Think about their gold and mineral reserves. Think about their gas reserves. What we learn from history is that people don't learn from history. This will come more important in video 2 when we discuss post-war economic booms. As George Soros said, the big money is made when things go from goddamn awful to plain awful. No guts, no glory is my motto. Time to buy is now. The reality is, after civil wars, you always experience indexes rising in the thousands and thousands of percent. And in some cases, the share prices follow by as much as 2,000 and 3,000%. You've only got to look at, the share market indexes in Zimbabwe, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, all following long protracted civil wars. And as a result of that, all their indexes went up into the thousands and thousands of percent. Some are upwards of 45,000 points And you've only got to look at the share prices. You know, the one thing they don't have is they don't have oil, they don't have truckloads of gas, they don't have truckloads of minerals. So there's only an upside to this investment, but this is not a get-rich scheme. So please don't think it is. This is a buy and a long-term sit. Could it change overnight? Could we buy shares tomorrow and then in 12 months have to decide as a group to sell? Yes, it could. The fact is, what we know is they've been talking about deleting zeros off their currency for a number of years now. You know, it was planned to do it in 2013. What happened in Iraq was ISIS. They postponed it to 2019. We're at 2019. Now, an article that just came out recently was that they're currently discussing in the next sitting of Parliament a change to monetary policy. So when you put the two together, and you know that they've postponed the Delete Zeros project to 2019, and now they're talking about a change in economic policy that will affect exchange rates, you know that something's big is about to happen, and that's why buying in now and quickly is very important. History has shown that civil war can be a powerful catalyst for a powerful multi-year bull market. You know, as I said just previously, you know, think about the Colombo stock market in Sri Lanka after a 30-year civil war. Think about Karachi in Pakistan and their share market. Think about Zimbabwe and their share market. You know, $100 invested in the Zimbabwe stock market years ago would be worth $100,000 now. But look at their exchange rate. It's worthless, and you still would have made $100,000. So we know previously under Saddam Hussein, their exchange rate was roughly about 2.5. If we go back in history, we know that their exchange rate was pegged against the Great British Pound. We then know that after World War II, that they then pegged it against the US dollar, petrodollars, and that was sitting at 2.5 US dollars for every Iraqi dinar. We know that they went to war purely because of the oil and the fact that Saddam Hussein threatened to dump the US dollar in exchange for euros. We also know that the former CBI Governor Shabibi has stated they could well cover an exchange rate of $6 US for every 1 dinar. Only time will tell, and no one knows for sure until they do it, but the buying opportunity is now. As the saying goes, to make money in stocks, follow the big money. We know that there's a number of small private equity hedge funds already in Iraq with combined securities totaling 150 million US dollars. This is the place to be. This could very well be the goose that laid the golden egg. So what's the buy-in? Well, the minimum buy-in is a joining fee of $50 and $100 invested straight into dinar. So the way that works is, you know, you send us an email to Mesopotamia Members Equity Fund at gmail.com. You send us an email. We'll send you a copy of our operating principles, investment strategy and guidelines, and investment rules. You then have to provide some documentation, which will include, you know, a colour copy of your driver's license front and back, as well as a colour copy of your passport, and as well as a copy of your rates notice that confirms your address. Your name must be on the rates notice. You then sign the contract, send it back, make your payment of the $50, which is the joining fee, as well as the $100. We take that $100, you transfer that straight into our corporate bank account. We transfer it straight to Iraq, and our broker over in Iraq will then buy the shares on your behalf. So as I said, it's $100 minimum buy-in. At this stage, we're offering 2 pools, so 2 stocks for you to choose. You can choose to invest $100 in one, or you can choose to invest $100 in both. So that would be $200 plus your $50 joining fee. Like I said, this is no get-rich scheme. This is not, you know, you're going to be rich tomorrow. This is, you know, you need to be invested for at least 7 years, for a minimum of 7 years. You don't need to continually invest money month by month unless you want to become, you know, one of our VIP members and you choose to invest, you know, the minimum $50 per month and pay the admin fee, which is about $20. The 2 stocks we've chosen, you know, one roughly gives us about 2 to 3 shares per dinar, and the other gives us roughly 9 shares per dinar. So there's Pool A, Pool B. Pool B is the one that gives us roughly 9 shares per dinar. This gives us our greatest bang for buck if you get in early. it'd be wise to invest in both pools or stocks. As the great man Warren Buffett said, successful investing takes time, discipline, and patience. No matter what the talent or effort, some things just take time. You can't produce a baby in 1 month by getting 9 women pregnant. So, like I said, the buy-in minimum is $100 and a $50 joining fee. As I said, just send us an email to Mesopotamia Members Equity Fund at gmail.com. I'll send you a copy of, like I said, the investment rules, strategy, and operating principles. You'll then supply your documentation, make payment, and then sit back and we wait. I'll keep you up to date with as much information as I can. As it comes to me, I'll certainly forward it on to you. Just a quick reminder, as I said, you need to invest for a minimum of 7 years. As Warren Buffett said, our favourite holding period is forever. While there's value in moving quickly, the stock market can't be timed. When your horizon is forever, you can't ride out the waves. He also says only buy something that you'd be perfectly happy to hold if the market shut down for 10 years. So like I said, this is not a get-rich scheme. There's no guarantees. I can't guarantee that we'll be in this for 7 years. I personally can't see the share market the index staying as low as it is, and the share price is staying as low as it is. I know under Saddam Hussein that the share markets the stock prices were restricted and could only move within a 5% range. I also know, having read a few articles on the internet, that other people have stated that it's currently being held down low, and you can see that yourself. All you got to do is do a little bit of research and check out all the share markets and the stock prices. Have a look at Kuwait. Go to Kuwait's bourse. Check their prices out of their banking stocks. Check out their exchange rate. Look at Tehran or Iran's share market index. Look at Karachi. Look at Colombo. We're talking countries that have gone through civil wars, and their share market indexes are in the thousands of percent, and their share, some of their shares rose between 2,000 and 3,000%. All the information is out there for you to make informed decisions. At the end of the day, this has to be your choice. But like I said, if you make one investment decision in your lifetime, this is it. It's a minimum, $150 buy-in. That's it. You can choose just to pay the $150 and sit back. Or you might say, you know what, $70 a month, I might, keep reinvesting, for as long as I can. And you know what, as long as we can, we buy as many shares as we can for as long as we can, while the exchange rate and the share price allows us to do that. So that's it from me. Happy investing. As I said, send me an email, Mesopotamia Members Equity Fund at gmail.com, and let's get this party started. Goodbye. Happy investing.